Greetings and welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker Hagan, and it's February and we are searching for love. I have my co host.
Well, good evening and happy February to each and every one of you. Yes, we have arrived to this month. We know that it's Black History Month. We know that it's Healthy Heart Health Month. But you know what? We know that Valentine's Day is affectionately known for love. February is known for Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. A lot of our listeners look forward to February because we talk about relationships, we talk about matters of the heart, and the fact that everybody's looking for love 24/7. You are married and still looking for love, you're single and searching for that special someone. And it's an exciting thing and also stressful, Dr. J, because a lot of times we throw ourselves in situations just because we want to accommodate one day.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, I go back to these holidays that all are somewhat artificial constructs, right? They've been made up. They are things that people have agreed upon, and yet and still they come with so much pressure, right? All of a sudden, Valentine's Day, that pressure that you don't want to be by yourself, that pressure that you don't want to break up around Valentine's Day, that pressure like you don't want to feel like you ain't got, you don't have anyone because not having someone is somehow another a scarlet letter against you. And we just have to really work to get rid of those things because what they promote that sometimes people make bad decisions in order to fit into what it's cultural or what they perceive as cultural norms.
And which is so sad, Dr. J, because a lot of times when we do that, we cheat ourselves out of real love. And I'm so happy. I'm celebrating you and Miss Wendy Leak. You're
Absolutely.
recently married. You're still in your honeymoon
Yeah.
stage. And,
On 8 months
I think you can absolutely talk about this, the waiting in between time to when you first met. And
now.
Alex and I be together almost 12 years, been married for
Wow.
10, and it just seems like yesterday. Every day is a honeymoon. I'm so excited about him. When we're separated, we be calling each other on the phone. Hey, just checking on you. Well, I just pulled off. And then I do the same thing to him. I said, well, baby, where you at? And he's like, oh, I'm down the street. And it's not, we got to be careful though, because I was in a situation where my checking on was a control and manipulation with my
Right.
previous marriage. This one here is absolutely from the heart. And those of you who haven't seen my interview with Dr. C on YouTube, look up Having Tea with Dr. C, Tea with Dr. C. And I was interviewed by her, and we will have a follow up part two that will air next week. So please tune into her station on YouTube and you'll be able to utilize that. And also, you can tap into it from my Facebook page because I did post it. But getting back to that, Dr. J, we have to make sure that we don't find ourselves in situations where it becomes an abusive love.
Yes. Because love should not produce the spirit of insecurity, and love should not create that type of atmosphere at all. And I think that that's one of the things that people have to be careful of is that when we start defining what is it that I'm looking for inside of love, and I'll say to you that love or what you're looking for and what we may call love may differ over different periods of your life. When you're very young and you feel you wild and fancy free, you may be thinking of love as this adventurous thing, hot and steamy and all those great things. And hey, it should be, don't get me wrong. And I don't say that necessarily expires when you're older, but as you mature, sometimes that doesn't become that priority, right? Sometimes you look for a place of stability, you look for a place of reciprocity, where that I'm not just giving in and of myself, right? I'm giving, but it's also being returned. And that's important when we start talking about relationships, because for one thing, we have to really kind of turn off the television and turn off the things that try to define to us what love is. And so often we see it, We see celebrities or people that we think are celebrities, and we try to mirror those individuals and don't know that they're tore up from the floor up. And, it's like lights, camera, action, and when the lights is off, then you got World War III. You don't want that. You want that sense of security, that sense of peace, that sense of knowing that as I am giving out, that is equally being and freely being reciprocated back to me. That inside of this is not about a you and a me or you and I. It's really about us that way. And that's what we really want to look for when we start searching for this thing that we call love, right? I said a few minutes ago, way back in the day, Kurt Franklin, I think they did a song that started off with the words love, a word that comes and go, but do people really know what it means to really love somebody? And it's important to consider that, because if we don't have a healthy perspective of love, we can enter into love being selfish. We can enter into love being possessive. We can enter into love being, if you would, almost demanding. And that's not what love is. And regardless of what you say, love has a characteristic. Love have a characteristic that is defined. And we have to be very careful that we don't accept things that is beneath that, right? So love has so many characteristics. And for those that are searching, one of the things that I've discovered is that many times we receive messages about love. We receive them in a piecemeal, right? We hear a fragment here from this person, a fragment from that person. And so you'll hear people say, well, I've got to find someone that I have a chemistry with, right? And we all know chemistry is important, but chemistry isn't everything, right? And then we say, guess what? I've got to find someone that I'm compatible with. Well, define compatibility. Is that compatibility mentally? Is that compatibility financially? Is that compatibility spiritually? Define what compatibility is. And you can have compatibility and not have chemistry. How do you balance it? You can have compatibility and you can have chemistry. But oftentimes what is often missing is that third C, and that is capacity. Do you have the capacity to love? Do you have the capacity to expand? Does this individual have the ability to grow with you? Can you grow with that individual? Are you at that place where you're kind of stuck and I want my love like a number 3 on the McDonald's menu? I know exactly what it is and I want it just like that. Or are you at that place that you say, you know what? I believe that love evolves. I believe that love grows. I believe that loves have ability to morphing into something even greater. And if I believe that, then guess what? My search becomes, if you would, not only broader, but also narrower at the same time. Because you know what? The saddest thing in the world is to get married to the figment in your imagination. The figment in your imagination, to the point that you have not really done your homework inside of really being able to see and being able to discern what's in front of you.
Well, that's why it has been said that when individuals get married, you don't really know a person until you actually live with them.
Mm-hmm.
I say you don't know someone until you take a road trip. You can take a road trip with somebody. You'll learn a whole lot about an individual. You learn about patience. You know about their character and their capacity to, be human. Because I took a road trip with my son, and we were trying to get to a destination, right? And I told him I had to go to the bathroom, and he said, "You just went 2 hours ago."
So put your bladder in check.
I said, boy, you better pull over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then when Alex and I went on a road trip prior to us getting married, he was just so kind and so patient. I was like, oh man, he's too good to be true. And then I found that he wanted to stop and go to the bathroom. I was picturing, and I said, then we had a chance to look around and talk and, take in the scenery and everything. My son was like, hold it.
Isn't it amazing, right?
So it's like when you really spend time with an individual and you in close quarters, then you'll kind of be able to see what they're made of, what they're like, their temperament. You learn more about the temperament of a person because, right now you in the love stage, all you see and feel is butterflies, and you're looking at the exterior instead of the interior. You don't know what that heart is like. So you have to you have to actually embrace matters of the heart, embrace that person emotionally, know what they think and how they feel, ask questions about their family, ask persons of what they I used to throw out all kind of crazy things just to get a response, just to see the thought process and where they're coming from. So you have to do things like that if you want to provoke conversation to find out the secret parts of the heart.
Yeah, and I think that's important because of this, and I think I want to definitely put this in the right context. You ask questions because of the fact you want to know, right? And if you're a person that's saying, listen, I'm actually dating, I'm seeking to date because of the fact I am looking for a companion, a covenant partner, a husband, a wife, or whatever, you've got to ask questions as well as if you would, be very discerning of what you see because
Mm,
it's important. Now, if you just want to have a hookup, these things may not mean anything to you. You might not feel a need for to ask questions. But when you're talking about this thing that we call love, that we consider something that is not only special, but something that is so essential in a healthy relationship, that is so essential inside of commitment, inside of decisions that you make, then you have to ask questions. You have to ask questions. You have to probe, and then you have to know what is your expectations. What is
absolutely.
their expectations inside of it? Some people, they have different expectations. There's some individuals that are all right. They're all right with being a hot dog. A hot dog, they have no ambition to be more than a hot dog.
Yeah.
While others say, no, I don't want to remain a hot dog. I want to be a steak. I want to be a prime rib. I want to be more than that. Now, if you know that you're believing for prime rib, then you got to be very careful with how you entertain hot dogs. You got to be
Hmm.
very careful because for the hot dog, for them, they met their ceiling a long time ago. Bam, this is it. I've arrived. While you're there going, but I need more. I want more. I deserve more.
Should
And
always
so we got to
want
be
more.
careful. Yeah.
It's especially, ladies, I'll talk from my perspective, my side. We should always want more. We should always value ourselves, and we should never allow ourselves to be so sucked in that we prioritize someone that makes us an option. It just should not be ever. And then don't ever give more than you're getting. It should be a balance. If you are in a relationship with someone, those feelings and emotions and those carings, it should be reciprocated. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be where you're constantly buying him clothes, offering to pay for things. Let me pay your car note. He's talking about his rent short, and then you'll be like, well, I can loan you a few dollars, and then you never get it back. No, you don't want to give more than what you're giving, and then you can't, because you can't buy love. You can't buy love.
You know what? I shop from not from I shop from time to time, and I've never been able to go into a store and find love. I mean, you can't walk into Neiman Marcus and say, "Can I find love on aisle 5?" or "Can I find love on aisle 3?" inside of a Walmart. No, you can't buy that at all. And the thing about it is that it goes back to what is it that I desire?
Yeah.
What
What
is
is
it
it
that
you
my heart
want?
is void?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. What is there? Because see, until you can define what you desire and what you want, then the world becomes a, as far as love and dating becomes just a smorgasbord to you. Whatever, well, whatever comes this way, I'll choose from this, I'll choose from that. You have to have some idea of what you want, what you need, and you got to have some idea of how do you interact with someone? What is your temperament? What are those things that you need? You know, are you short tempered? Are you a person that have very little patience? Are you the individual who is very judgmental? Are you the person who, how would I put it? You know, you notice no stop sign, you have no guardrails.
Mhm.
If that's the case, then you are in a very dangerous situation because you're going to be like you're just going to draw and attract everything because you have no guardrails, you have no boundaries, you have nothing there that is kind of, if you were defining where your parameters are.
Hmm. You know, and a lot of times as women, we feel that, oh, our biological clock is ticking, you know, for those that want to have children, then they're like, oh, I'm getting so old. I mean, nobody's going to want me. And because this person is showing me attention, you know, I may as well get that because, you know, it's been a long, dry run. And this is the only one that's giving me attention. Most of my besties have gotten married after 55,
Yeah,
after they
yeah,
turn 55, and some for the first time, not a second or third
yes,
marriage, but their first
yes.
marriage. So, you know, it's better to be alone than to wish you were. And I know it
That is
all too
such great
well. I
advice.
was married for 19 years and I wish I wasn't. I wanted so bad to be free because of the mental and physical abuse that I suffered. So, you know, it's better to be alone and live your life to the fullest and allow that love that God has for you to come and embrace you and make you whole. You know, not saying that you're not whole because you don't have someone, but make you whole in the sense that you feel that you're not whole unless you have someone. So allow God to
Wow.
do that, to fill that space, because a lot of times we feel that we're insignificant just because we don't have a significant partner.
You said so much there, you know, that, you know, that sense of feeling one and complete without someone. In other words, having that other person is not what's going to define you. You need to be defined before you're looking for that to define you. No. A person come along, they may compliment you and they may seemingly bring a completeness to who you are, but it's not like you're sitting there waiting for someone to come and define you. No. uh, there are many people that looks for someone to come rescue them. That's not what
Right.
it should be about neither, right? Come rescue you. You automatically enter from a needy perspective. If you're needing rescuing, you need someone to just come scoop you off your feet. And think about it, years ago, that sounded very romantic, right? The knight in shining armor just coming in, sweeping you off your feet. Uh, Fast forward time, and that doesn't sound too safe. That's not too secure at all inside of that. And so we have to be able to find some things for ourselves. And as we look at these things, we have to decide, what does love look like to me? What does love look like to me? What does love feel like to me? What does love feel like to me? And then thirdly, we have to be able to find the question, what actions do love manifest? So I'll know these things that I'm seeing, is it love? No. If I'm seeing selfishness, if I'm seeing abuse, if I'm seeing someone who totally minimizes and degrades, if I'm seeing someone who is violent in any type of way, if I'm dealing with someone who is filled with greed and they're discontent about everything, uh, it may not be what one is looking for. It may not be what you're looking for. As a matter of fact, I know it's not what you're looking for. So don't get desperate. Don't get
Yeah, a
desperate
lot of
and
times
don't.
we make excuses so
Right.
that we won't be alone. We make excuses and say, "Oh, he didn't mean that. Oh, he didn't, when he said that, he didn't really mean what he said. He was just angry at the time." If you're just in the dating stage and you have to cover for the way you feel, the way he made you feel emotionally degrading
Exactly.
you, then that's not the person for you, because it will only get worse, because you've allowed him to know that it's okay, that you can talk to me any kind of way, you can handle me any kind of way, and you don't have to even do nothing. All you have to do is just say, "I want to do this," and she'll cover it, she'll take care of it. So we have to be careful in what we put out as limitations instead of expectations of what we want from that individual. We're limiting them from having to do for us instead of expecting it to be done.
That's really good, because what you're basically saying that in many ways we start lowering the bar.
Yeah, we
We
lower
start
our
lower.
standards,
Yeah, yeah, and
we
that's
dumb it
important.
down. We dumb it
Yeah.
down just to be able to say, okay. And don't get caught up in the fact that, oh, he got muscles, and oh, he fine, everybody like him, they think he look good and this and that and stuff, because sometimes when you pull off those clothes, there's nothing there.
well,
Nothing there.
well, I laugh because of the fact that it is amazing that, when people window shop, right? When people window shop, they're looking through the window and they're seeing what they think. Wow, that's nice, but they don't really know what they got until
They
they,
don't know what they got until they get it,
until,
and they be like,
until
oh
when
wow.
you get inside, you're like, oh man, that's not exactly what I thought it was. And so we have to be very careful
But when you love
about that.
someone
Yeah,
and they love you, even when there's limitations, it will
yeah,
be okay.
yeah, yeah.
It will be okay. So
There's something that speaks about from the heart, right? The character in the heart. At the end of the day, I think most of us would agree that we want to feel a sense of peace. To me, peace is valuable. Peace is so important. Peace, listen, is priceless. You want to be able to live and operate with someone that you're in covenant with in PEACE, not live in something that you feel like you always broken into PIECES. You always broken into
right,
pieces. No, you want to be able to have peace.
absolutely, Dr. J. And you can't buy peace. You
No,
can't buy it.
no.
So we have to make sure that we're sure when we're in a situation or we're trying to build a relationship. And by all means, please don't marry the first one that acts just because they act, and you've not dated, you've not experienced anything on the outside, and you got your girlfriends in your ear dictating to you what to do instead of it coming organically, because it's not going to work, because then you inviting them into your bedroom. So these are different things that you have to be careful about.
That's so you're so right. I was looking at one of the comments that talks about the fact it's not dumbing down. No one will love exactly how you want to be loved. Don't discourage each other. And to that point, I'll say this: no one will ever love you exactly,
No,
the way that you want to be loved in every aspect. But what we are saying is this: is that you do have to have a standard. You do have to have an expectation. You have to have that
male
in
and
terms.
females, you have an
That's right.
expectation. Men have an expectation of what it is you want, what it is it makes it feel like to make you whole. As I said, Dr. J, you recently got married, and there was an expectation of what you
Absolutely.
wanted. You could have had your pick, but yet
Yes.
you picked Wendy because
Absolutely.
there was something that she filled. She checked all the emotional boxes
Yes.
first.
Yes. Yes.
She
Yes.
catered to your soul, and you
Yeah.
were able to communicate and stuff. Is a bad situation and hard though to be in a room with somebody and there's no communication.
Absolutely.
They don't
And
have
then
a clue what you're saying. You're trying to communicate and tell them where you are and what's going on, and they don't get it. It's a terrible situation.
listen, it makes a big difference, when you're able to walk with someone that literally they inspire you, they encourage you without even look like much effort. They have having that ability to recognize and be able to sum up your day of what you're going through and know that right now what you need is some peace and quiet. What you now need is to be able to distress. What you need to be able to detox. You need to be able to, and to be able to recognize, listen, hey, it's time for you to shut it down for the day, because at the end of the day you got to take care of you. Now that's important. That's important for someone who's always on the go, who's always this, that, and other, that's also serving other people. And that's something I would say to, for some time, the reason that we're not in relationships or find that is because of the fact we are so used to being on the giving end that we have not learned how to receive, that we find it difficult receiving. We find it difficult and being, if you would, catered to, or find it difficult to be, to be responded to the way that we're not being responded to. So it's so much that we have to do to make sure that we're ready. That we're ready, that we're willing to grow, we're willing to expand, we're willing to once again open up our eyes of discernment, and then recognize the fact I deserve to be loved, and I deserve to love.
Absolutely. One of the things I said to you, Doc,
Yeah, hot topics from the soul, reaching all minds, turning knowledge into gold. Yeah,
allow her to
hot
love you.
topics from the
And when you
soul.
did
Yeah,
that, you
hot
were
topics from the
sure that she
soul.
was the right
Yeah,
choice
hot topics from
because
the
Absolutely.
you
soul,
did it
reaching all minds,
freely.
turning knowledge into
So this
gold.
show
Absolutely.
has been a
Hot
blessing.
topics from the
Please share it and
soul.
don't forget to
Hot topics
subscribe
from the soul.
to Hot Topics from the Soul. Until next time.
Yeah, hot topics from the soul, reaching all minds, turning knowledge into gold. Yeah, hot topics from the soul. Yeah, hot topics from the soul. Yeah, hot topics from the soul.